Well,
I want everybody to make 6 figures a month, right? I don't want anyone just to stay where they are. Like we all need to grow. Jamal don't bullshit around. He's the real deal. I'm super grateful. I mean, look, the sun is shining at us. You know, I'm blessed, man. You know, I've gone through a lot of trial and error, and I plan to not make the same mistake. I'm with the right people.
I'm about to appear, bro. I got this one.
Right, you guys, we are joined by the one and only Ozzy. Thank you for being here, Oz.
Jamal, thanks for having me, brother.
No, it's good to have you out here. I said, Ozzy, you got to get out to Arizona. Same day you got your flight, you was out here in the afternoon.
I got the call, I got the bat signal, you know, I looked up and I was like, damn, I gotta go. Saw the EDM in the sky and I was like, let's go.
No, but you guys, for those of you who don't know, Ozzy is one of the biggest rising stars here at EDM, and you know, I'm so grateful to have him in our life and have him a part of the company, and he's just a ball of energy to be around, which always makes for a good time. Ozzy, I don't know if you want to go into it too much or if you want to disclose this information, but Ozzy's a 7-figure earner. He's a big dog in this space, and he's doing everything collaboration with us. And I want you guys to hear his story, how he is able to build what he has today, and also his journey along the way. So, Oz, if you will, can you go ahead and bless us with the backstory, how everything started, where you came from? Give us the full rundown.
So I've been advised not to give the full details, but I've had a few ups and downs. I think I've had more downs, but you know, they always say, you know, it takes 99 no's and that one yes makes up for everything.
Yeah.
And the biggest blessing I've had in this life was meeting you and Rita. You know, I wouldn't be a 7-figure earner without you guys, without the platform, without your guys' knowledge, your coaching. I've done it all. I've done every type of vertical you could think of. I was selling gym memberships. I've done MCA, timeshare, you know, and I've gotten fired from too many jobs. I think I'm blacklisted on Indeed for sure. And I don't know, it's been a journey, you know, and I think the biggest takeaway that hopefully people get from this pod is you got to be surrounded with the right people, right? You got to make sure you're with the winning team, right? Everybody has to eat. When everybody's eating, then everyone is going to start feeling good. They're going to want everyone to, when someone is down, they uplift them, right? And you know, the energy pays, right? Like I'm a big energy guy, right? The universe tracks everything. You have to give good energy out, and it's going to roll over to everyone else. No. And that's like same thing. If somebody's a vampire, they suck. You know, you ever met somebody? You walk into a room and you feel your energy goes down.
Yeah.
And you know, you learn throughout life when to cut those people off. Some people never cut them off, and then they realize why they're stuck or they can't break that ceiling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'm in the right place. You know, like I said, I got the back call, and here I am.
Now, you know, take it back for us real quick, Oz, because I want people to kind of understand, like, where you come from. Like, were you raised with money? Like, what was your upbringing like? Who was Ozzy when he was in high school?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be full transparent. I am nothing who I was when I was a kid. When I was younger, you wouldn't even recognize me today. I was a shy kid, and you know, I always make this joke with you. You know, when you're a shy kid in middle school, elementary, high school, whatever it is, you are automatically classified as a nerd,
yeah,
as a shy kid. The joke's on them, though. I was a shy, stupid kid. I was the worst student. I couldn't take tests. My way of learning was always doing, right? I've always been an action taker. And, you know, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I was blessed to have both parents,
yeah,
you know, but I grew up in a very traditional household. You got to go to school. You know, you got to get a good degree. I didn't go to school. I dropped out. I've been criticized multiple times by family, friends. And, you know, obviously it's a touchy subject. I'm pretty sure some people are going to relate. And I've had a lot of people doubt me. You know, my family doubted me. My friends doubted me. You know, girlfriends. And I think the biggest thing is you never want to doubt yourself. The minute you doubt yourself, that's when you lost the battle. You're going to lose time and time again. And like I said, all the losses that I've had in my life, I wouldn't change it, right? Because then it's made me the man who I am today, and I got to make sure that I pass these teachings on to others, and that way they don't make the same mistakes that I did.
Now, when you were in school and growing up and you realized, hey, school's not for me, like, what was your thought process as far as what you're going to do in the future? Did you think, hey, I'm going to go into sales, or were you thinking, I just need to find some type of stable job? Like, what was your mindset, graduating, dropping out, like figuring out what you're going to do with the rest of your life? What was that like?
I think a big thing for me was the gym. So I was always working out, and I loved helping people. I like signing people up. I like training. It was one of those things where naturally I was just good at talking to people, right? And to be quite honest with you, I thought I was going to work at the gym for the rest of my life. Like I said, I love the community aspect. I like helping those and seeing them grow. When you hear, hey, because of your training, I lost X amount of weight, or I gained this amount of muscle, it makes you feel good. However, there's a ceiling in any type of industry, right? You can only make so much money in certain job fields, and then you realize, okay, well, how am I going to grow, right? And then I was fortunate enough to learn sales at a very young age, right? So straight out of high school, I went into sales. And like I said, I was a shy kid. I had a nasty stuttering problem. Everybody saw The Wolf of Wall Street. You thought, you pick up the phone, you're going to make money when you call. First day, I'm excited. I'm working at my desk, and they're like, here's a list of names and numbers. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? They're like, you better start smiling and dial it. And, I'll call the first person. I'm like, I can't. Once you lose those jitters, right? And this is for anybody who's never been in sales. It's going to be awkward at first. You're going to feel intimidated because you see some sharks in your building or whatever line of work you're in. But at the end of the day, it's repetition. Like, you have to take so many no's to where, like, you just shove it off, right? You just keep going, right? And so, like, with school, I was just a shitty student. Like, I couldn't learn. I had a reading problem. Like, I would read the same sentence back and forth. And then I still advise
comprehension.
Yeah, the way I learn is I just can't sit in a classroom. I get bored easily. I get distracted. And so, I still get distracted today, right? Professionally. So, but again, I think to kind of I was able to learn sales at a very young age, and when I still advise everybody to go to college at least. Like, you have to try it out, right? Like, you don't want to just give up and then go straight to the workforce. You need to know, hey, is there something I could learn, right? Something that they feel like they align with, right? I didn't align with school at all. All the careers that I studied, I did not care about it.
So you went into sales at the gym. That was the kind of the next iteration for you after you kind of left school. Now, from the gym, what was that next level for you? What path unveiled itself for you after the gym? I
got an opportunity to work in the timeshare cancellation space, right? So it's very niche. At the time, I was like 21, 22. I had no idea what it was. Right? I was like, what the hell is a timeshare? Like, I just know dumbbells, memberships, and this is how much money I'm going to make if I sell a trading package. And, when you realize how big this economy is, right, in terms of other verticals, there's so much money out there. Everybody can eat. Everybody. And so when I realized, I hear these closers making 20 grand a month, and I'm like sitting on my, my desk, I'm getting paid hourly and just sitting and waiting. And you're like, man, there's more out there, right? And then I really started getting into the entrepreneurship mindset when I started talking to the owners of the company, some mentors, and they would kind of tell me, they had the same backstory. I went into sales at a young age.
Yeah.
I did the whole corporate structure, and then I started my own thing. And that's one way I think a lot of people who get into sales, they have that drive, but they also have to realize you got to be patient. Right, everybody wants instant gratification right now. You gotta you gotta eat the shit sandwich, right? And the only way to eat a shit sandwich is eat it fast.
Yeah.
And like I said, I did the whole corporate ladder thing, and then I tried a couple of businesses. I was a shitty business owner, right? I thought I knew how to run business. I thought I knew how to operations and sales, and some people, they think they're ready for an entrepreneurship lifestyle, and I could say not everyone is meant for it.
So from going into sales, you kind of made like after you did the gym sales, you went to high ticket sales, selling a niche vertical product, and then what was the next step after that?
I started my own agency. So
Okay.
after I lost it all, right, you got to go back to work. If you have no money, go get a job, right?
Yeah.
Don't day trade, don't do crypto, like don't flip back, baseball cards, like don't do anything. Don't start a business. If you have no money, where's the camera? If you have no money, do not start a business. Go get a job, save some money up, and then, leverage it. I went, after I saved up, I got lucky, right, with some plays, and I had some connections from my old industries. I started my own agency. So I had my own call center, I had my own lead gen, and around this time, one of your guys had reached out to me, and I could say, I don't mind saying this, I had an ego, right? I was like, I don't want to work with EDM, I'm good, I'm doing good on my own, I don't need you guys, right? And you guys had all these verticals, and I was always curious because I was like, I've never heard of this, right? I was doing Timeshare and Masterclass. That was my only two things. But then I see how many other plays are there, and you realize the platform that EDM provides, it's complicated on the back end, but it's nice and shiny on the outside, right? You guys have simplified everything to where you don't have to start an agency from scratch. You don't have to worry about the compliance issues. You don't have to worry about, chasing a book of business, because everything a business owner needs, you guys provide.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, why am I gonna, struggle chasing invoices 24/7 when I can just partner with you guys, pick your brain, help me help you. And I mean, like I said, I'm making 6 figures a month.
So that courting process, because at a certain point we started to engage together, and I started to say, hey man, you're doing this a little bit harder than it has to be.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was a lot of pushback there for a long time. And you alluded to the fact that you think it was ego, right? But I don't know if it's so much ego, but did you just not want the help, or were you just trying to figure it out on your own?
Let me rephrase that. So when I say ego, I think it's more like, I wanted to be number one, right? I wanted to be it's my business, it's my, my operations, right? And so what happens is, some people don't want to accept hey, it's okay to be the number two, right? It's okay if you're not the star of the show. And that's when I realized, I do need help. Right, I'm doing things wrong. I see how well organized you guys are. I see how well everything is operation-wise. I don't have that, right? I've got the sales side of it. I know how to lead. I know how to coach. I know how to, motivate. But,
I'm sure y'all can feel the energy already. This is Ozzy where he's nervous, right? But I tell you, he's a ball of energy, and I do think that's a huge superpower for you, Oz, where I do feel like it's magnetic. Where you do bring people in and you make them feel comfortable. Even if you don't know everything about everything, it's just more so making people feel comfortable enough where they're at least willing to have a conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I do think that's a superpower, and I don't want anybody, if anybody has a personality like that, you have to be doing something that gets you in front of as many people as possible. Now going back to kind of this journey that we had kind of with you coming in and working with us underneath the platform, when did it really start to click for you? Hey, I need to do this, and I need to do this fast. When did that click for you?
When my agency took a dip, right? And I was like, I gotta take this serious. I need to literally, turn the hat sideways, start making some calls. And, when you see how much money you hear some of these other brokers are making, that's pretty motivating, right? I'm like, okay, if this guy can do it, I sure as shit can. I could be better.
Yeah.
And it's kind of to piggyback what you said, I am blessed that I have that, energy of gravitate people and like, you know, get everyone rattled up. Like I can make any vertical exciting, you know, like, hell yeah, man. Like, dude, you're going to be pulling up in the Lambo in a few months. You work with us. Like, you know, you gotta I think you gotta have like, this is my philosophy, right? Like you gotta be charismatic, right? You gotta have some type of charm and you gotta be a closer, right? Because some of them have that charisma and they're very nice, right? They like, you know, they'll put the client on a pedestal, but then they won't ask for the sale because they're worried like, oh, what if he judges me? What if he like, he interprets this friendship differently? At the end of the day, it's business, right? A good business relationship is going to come down to a friendship. The guy has to like you first. He ain't going to give you $200,000 a week if he doesn't like you, right? And so, you know, like I said, I mean, because of you guys, I've seen how much money these advertisers are spending, and you know, I mean, it's motivating, right?
Now, when you were doing your agency prior, like, what was the business model as far as like how you collected money? What was the average ticket?
Where's the camera? let me. You want to tell them how I was getting it?
Do you think? Walk them through it. Tell them the story as far as like, you know, like your traditional agency model that you started off with, like the way you were operating business, like what were some of those variables, and then what were some of the big differences that you saw when you were able to incorporate advertisers within our business model?
Yeah, so like any business, right? Like I had my own merchant account, I had Stripe, I had all of it. Some of the clients, they don't want to do that, right? They want Zelle, they want Apple Pay, they want Cash App. They're like, hey, I'm gonna send you a check. You know, I was getting payments in so many different forms. Like I would tell Jamal this, and he'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, and he's heard me chase down invoices all the time. And you know, I think I respect so much how organized you guys have it. Like you guys have it down to a science.
But I think that's something a lot of people resonate with us.
Yeah.
Where like they'll do anything to collect the money, but not all business is good business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I do think that's one of those things that does take a long time to learn. But like just gives everybody a sense of that perspective though, right? Is like, what would you say is the average ticket that your average client spent before comparatively to like what you see them spending within the platform? Yeah,
so like if you're an individual, right? It's kind of like you said, not all good business is good business, right? Like if a client pays me, you know, $15,000, right, for data or whatever, right? I wasn't that guy who knew like how to put reserves and everything. I'm like, okay, I made this amount, let me pull it out and let me go spend it, right? And that's some bad business, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like even though I was making good as an individual and like, yeah, my team was doing good, you have to have that operations and the foundation in order to exceed, right? And that's that ceiling I keep talking about, is that even if you're an independent agency and you feel like you're at a cap or you're at a plateau, it's because you need a different, like I said, you need a strong operation and you need a good team. And when everybody's eating, you're gonna break through that ceiling. And so that's why I truly believe that, you know, you guys have you know, you broke it down to science and you guys cracked the code.
And like in terms of like the growth, right? You'll say, would your top clients spend $15,000 a month with you? Mm-hmm. And what's the difference that you see now with your clients spending?
Well, now they spend that in a day. You know, I remember, you know, I was so used to like my biggest months, like net profit, right? Were like 50,000, right? I'm thinking, oh, this is good. You know, like I'm killing it, right? And then you spend it, and then you're hoping that one client, that big client you have, he doesn't fall off, which is what happened with me, right? I had a big client. I was like, oh, he's gonna be with me forever. He's like, hey, we're gonna pull back on marketing costs, and your business is gonna get affected by it. And you're like, well, shit, like I overhired too many people. I don't have enough data, and you know, things can burn pretty quick. And seeing how much money some of these advertisers spend with you guys, I'm like, man, this is crazy.
And what did you notice about the business models? Like, what was the biggest difference that we exposed you to versus what you were doing before?
I mean, it's just it's like the operation. You know, you guys have it. I started my business from the roof when I should have started at the bottom. You know, like I was like, oh, let me go work on this. Let me go work on that. When I see how you guys like set expectations and the transparency, which plays a big role, right? I'm pretty blunt with my clients. I tell them straight up, like, hey, like this is how much it's going to cost me, and this is how much I want to charge because I want to make some money, right? We're in a for-profit business, and like I said, it's just the transparency aspect. I think, you know, I mean, like I've been to these conferences with you guys. Everyone gets excited when they see you, you know, and I mean, I love it. And that's the beauty of this business.
Now, let's go ahead and dig into the initial start, right? Because when you were initially getting started, Oz, I think we had a different battle. And I think it was the difference between you white labeling the platform versus us using the platform branded as EDM. Like, do you still think that the white label is necessary to operate, or do you like the service and support that comes with having it under the EDM brand?
No, you got it. Everyone, like I said earlier, everybody wants their own agency, right? They want to be like, oh, it's my brand. The broker model saves you all that headache because now you have the support of like the operations, the IT, technical. You don't have to worry about that. Obviously, you got to voice it and you got to make sure you do your part.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But it's so simple. It's super easy, right? You bring a client, right? You connect them with the pub. EDM is the piece, and you got to make sure that they just follow the steps, and then everybody gets paid.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, right? I feel like people overcomplicate sales, right? They're like, oh, you know, we got to do this. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, sometimes people oversell themselves, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is most of these companies and most of these businesses, they already know what's up.
Yeah.
Right? What's going to separate you from everybody else is literally not the product or the service, it's you, right? You got to be as transparent as possible, but also make them feel like if you work with us, there's no reason for you to work with anybody else, right? That sense of confidence is what a business owner needs to hear, right? But if you like, you know, you kind of hesitate, well, you know, I'm not gonna lie. When I started my agency, I used to straight up lie. Yeah, I've got five clients. You know, we're doing this. You know, I'm like hoping, like, man, I really hope he pays the invoice. Man, I really hope he pays the invoice. I owe Google some money. And once you get that one client, you know, it's an energy. Hey, I work with such and such. Oh yeah, I used to work with Joe from a couple years ago. What do you guys do? Oh, I sell him, you know, web forms right now. I can do the same for you. I don't need web forms. I can take calls. Perfect. Let's do calls. And then you go, hey, I work with these two guys. Oh yeah, let me refer you this. And it's like I said, it's all energy, and it's the only way to know if this is going to work is you got to take action. Even if nothing comes out at the end of the day, it's the fact that you put that energy out there in the action, and it's going to transfer over to the next day.
Yeah.
And your pockets will see it eventually.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're in weird times, right? You have social media, and then obviously somebody who doesn't know me, they go, oh, well, who's this jerk off? He's making $1 million, you know, 6 figures a month. You know, they don't know what I've been through, you know.
Yeah.
I've been dirt broke, you know, like I'm like hoping at the gas station, man, how much can $2 get me?
In Texas, you can get a gallon.
No, this is in California.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. You're making it to the stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it was bad. It was bad.
But walk me through this, though, Oz, because, like, everybody, I think the most intimidating thing for anybody is, like, where am I going to get customers from? Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that people get intimidated by. And, you know, you're producing 6 figures a month and people are thinking, man, how do I get to that point?
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody does think that it takes a lot, but sometimes you could do a lot with a little. And, you know, what was the evolution as far as you bringing in your first client and us getting started with them? What was that learning experience like? What did you see differently from what you were doing in the past? What were some of those things?
You know, I definitely think the biggest thing that helped me out, right, was always following up, right? And you have to follow up as much as possible and ask for business, right? And so to me, I was able to solidify good clients because I actually like genuinely cared about them, right? Like I needed them to win. Their success is my success. That's what I always say. You know, I need them to be excited that we're working together, right? I didn't view them just as a client. Like I always view them as a partnership, right? Granted, you know, it's business. You know, I send you the invoice, you got to pay the bill, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen in this industry. It's one of these days, you know, you're gonna get hit with the bill, and you know, you gotta, you know, knock on some doors. But I think if you're a broker, right, and whoever's listening to this, you have to be the glue between your advertiser and EDM, right? Like they have to go to you so they can feel confident that, hey, this is gonna be a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Right. If you already kind of, you know, set expectations like, oh yeah, you can try it out for a bit, then they're thinking like, oh well, this guy doesn't really know what he's selling me, right? You should be like, these are the best leads, man. I mean, everybody's making money except for you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
it's the truth.
I mean, there's been times we've been in meetings. I said, listen, everybody's doing it except for you. Why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
You know, that's how you're gonna make money, right? Like you got to ride the wave. You know, and so, and like, I mean, each wave is going to be different. You know, I mean, earlier we had conversations about how I want to tap into evergreen business, like evergreen verticals, because even though my specialty is in the niches, right? I mean, you know, the richest is in the niches, but at the same time, you still got to have something to fall back on.
Yeah, something consistent.
Yeah. So that's what my goal is for the month of April. You know, Q1 is done, and, you know, hopefully I can get another, Timex.
You can get your own shit. You can get your own stuff, but you know, it's really one of those things, Oz, that when I hear you say that, especially like going to have to collect or instilling confidence or just doing anything to make sure that the business is stable,
Yeah.
and everybody's on the same page. Like that over communication part is a super valuable takeaway for anybody. Like you always want to over communicate, make sure everybody's on the same page. If they're not, get on the phone and get it done quickly. I don't see you as a person that's scared to get on the phone.
No.
You're comfortable talking to anybody, addressing problems. Like those are things that I do think are very unique characteristics. You know, not a lot of people have that.
I think another thing is you gotta be comfortable with the uncomfortable conversations, right? You know, I think a lot of people, they tend to avoid that, right?
Yeah.
Say like a client goes, hey, like you send me shit data or trash, right, leads, and they're, oh, like let me ignore his calls. Like you got to go head on.
Yeah.
Because usually when they answer, their guard goes down like, oh well, you know, it's not that it was bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Like, you know, like I mean, we're emotional. You know, we're all emotional creatures. Like, you know, you know, if we're upset, you know, we're gonna pop off. I mean, I've popped off before, you know, and so like it's kind of like you said, you can't be afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
You know, I've had deals with people, I've never even met them. Like some of these are my clients. I have a few who I've never met them. I feel like I know them, and it's all done on the phone. But I am a big believer that you still have to kind of show face so they can kind of see like, okay, this guy has, you know, he cares. Like, you know, he doesn't just view me as a, you know, as a check or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
You live like a nomad. Like,
I do. I was just like, I mean, yeah, he's like, hey, come to Arizona. I said, all right, I'll be there. You know?
Literally, we were talking in the morning, and literally probably 6 hours later, he was here. And I said, you know, I got a lot of respect for that, Us, because I'll tell you, like, a lot of those shots that you don't take, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You really don't know what's going to happen, and sometimes it's for the positive, sometimes it's not. And you really kind of just want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on. And I do think that you're very mindful of that, which is extremely valuable. Now, let's take it back to kind of the experience that you've had, because, you know, this isn't the first time, you know, you come to a few conferences with us at this point. kind of been able to see how the team operates cohesively as a whole. What are some of those things that you learn operationally or fundamentally about business from being around me, Rita, or anybody else on the team that you have applied and taken internally to how you adapt your life today? Like, what are some of those things?
I mean, you know, you gotta be an open book. You know, you gotta be open-minded. You know, you never know who you're gonna meet. Like, you have to shake hands, kiss babies. You know, any opportunity could be a business, right? I mean, you said it best, right? Like, you go to these conferences that nobody knows who you are, but you're looking for that diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just the way I apply it is like, I just tell everybody what I do. Hey, this is what I do. Are you in my industry? No, I don't do that. Okay, no problem. You know, you never know who you're gonna meet, and it's just, you have to just be like a walking brand, a walking like advertisement for EDM, because people are gonna be curious. Like, well, like, what do you do? Like, why? Like, how do you make so much money? Oh, well, I do these verticals. Oh, no way, my buddy does that. Oh, let's connect.
Yeah. How many times has that happened?
A lot. The deal that we have today is because I worked with somebody. I asked for his business, and then I said, listen, I think your business partner should listen to the vertical we have to offer, and you guys should go all in on it. And they did, right? And that only comes through the follow-up. You have to follow up. You have to ask questions. You have to set expectations, and you have to paint a picture. The most important part about business is the vision, right? The roadmap. If there's no roadmap or a vision, they lose sight and they quit. Oh, this isn't gonna work out. I'm gonna go get a job. I'm gonna go work for this agency because they're making more money, right? And so your core values have to align with whatever you're selling. I love what I do. I love selling. Like, I like working with people.
Does it feel like you have a job where you work?
No. It feels like play, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure people have heard that before. Find something that feels like play, not work.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like a game. Like, I've gamified everything. You know?
And about that game, like, what is it about the game that you love the most?
I mean, it sounds crazy. You know, failure is going to make the wins more exciting.
Yeah.
Every time I failed, I was like, I know I'm going to come back. I always knew I was going to come back. You know, like I said, I've had it all, I've lost it all. I had some, I lost it all. I had nothing, and I still lost more. and that's why I'm so happy for all the bullshit I went through, because it's made me so iron. Like, my mindset is like, dude, I'm unstoppable. I could lose everything tomorrow, I'll come back. You know, I just, for anyone who's listening out there, obviously build an essay, right? Don't be an idiot. Like, if you're making a lot of money, you know, start saving and put something on the side, because you never know. But I'm unstoppable. Like, I know for a fact, like, I could sell anything. I could just, you know, I know, like, I can always build relationships. Even if I lost it all, my strongest suit is me talking to people, building relationships. You know, you got to just ask. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Facts.
Right? If you don't ask for help, nobody knows you need help. Yeah. Right? If you don't ask for the sale, nobody knows if you want to do business with them. That's just the reality. You can't assume they want to work with you. You got to let them know, hey, we're already working.
Yeah.
You just need to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's how you got to do it. And so I'm grateful that I've worked with sharks, you know, people like yourself. Like, you guys don't stop. You're a machine, right? You know, obviously, you know, I'll hit the snooze button. You know, I'll be, you know, sleeping in, and you know, I'm working on it. Not this weekend, but I'm working on it. That's one of my goals.
You guys, I will tell you, if Ozzy can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, and that's not to discredit you.
No, not at all.
It's more so just like, he is the most, like,
yeah, I mean,
you and Rita have such similar personalities.
People can look up where I live. I used to live in Santa Ana, California. I grew up right in front of Civic Center, in front of the jailhouse, which is pretty much the ghetto, right? It's a up and coming city now, but at the time when I was
getting gentrified.
Yeah, you know, yeah. And you know, I went to Santa Ana High School. I grew up in a, you know, like, you know, they're just I didn't know this was possible. But the thing is, I always felt like there was more to life.
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to do business. I always knew I wanted to be something, and it's like just in a greater market, right? Like I didn't want to feel constrained to just, hey, you get the degree and then you go work at some job you hate, right? Because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I studied business administration. I don't even know what the hell that means. Like you get a degree and you're like, oh, like, you're gonna do the same thing. They all do sales. Every company needs salesmen. Yeah. Right. Obviously, I'm not telling these people to go sell tires. Right. Like, you got to be passionate about what you're selling, but it also has to relate to your personality, your core values, and at the end of the day, the more people you help, the more money you're gonna make. Yeah. Right. Like if it's too one-sided, the transaction, that's bad business. Both parties got to feel like, hey, like, we're both winning.
Yeah. Everybody got to eat.
Everybody. And
I think that's like a testament to how we've been able to build, how we built it, because I think it backs down the math, right? Yeah. And you're very good at talking to the lizard brain, getting people excited, getting the highlights. But there's a certain amount of people who you need to start talking to their logical brain as far as what makes sense, the economics for everything, the math. Like, what was your difference in being able to learn both sides of the language? Like, learning how to not only just talk to the lizard brain, but also be able to, talk to the analytical mind, the people that have deeper questions. Like, what was that process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, everyone interprets things differently, right? Like, everyone hears and listens differently. And 99% of the people I work with, I was like, here's a lead, here's how much you pay. Yay, that's like business, right? Then you meet that one business owner who's like, what's the CPM? What's the CPA? What's the CPL? What are my target expectations? What's my CPA gonna look like? How much money, should we have on this? And I'm like, whoa, like what the, hold on. I was like, I have no, they're talking backlinks, post links, link, I'm like, I was like, got no idea. I'd call Jamal, I'd be like, what the hell is this guy saying, bro? I have no idea what he's saying. And it's just, it's cool seeing how, like, it's not my strong suit, right? But I force myself to learn it, right? You gotta be a jack of all trades, but you always say this, stick to your lane, right? Stick to what makes you money. Yeah. So stick to that, but still be mindful and learn those other things, because it's gonna come up one day. Yeah. One day you're gonna meet somebody who doesn't like my jokes, who doesn't like the way I talk, right? He doesn't like how I act. He doesn't like my energy. Yeah. Suit and tie dude. He goes, hey, let's crunch the numbers.
Give me the facts. Yeah.
Give me the facts, right? Don't try to sugarcoat it. Yeah. And I don't usually sugarcoat it. I just get excited to talk to these people. But some of these people have been screwed over so many times. They have a guard up for everything.
Everything.
So it makes sense. I don't blame them. Yeah. Right. And usually when I acknowledge that, their guard goes down. Right, because they're like, okay, like he sees what I'm going through.
Now, have you noticed that it's more helpful to, like, for example, when we run calls together, have you found like it's way more helpful to bring me into a call versus you trying to just struggle on that call by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like the team effort thing, right? And it's one of those things where the advertiser and the pubs, they don't feel like, oh, it's a one-man show. It's like, oh, there's a team behind, right? Yeah. Oh, there's structure. Yeah. Oh, like there's transparency. Oh, like we see like where the source is coming from. Yeah. Right? And I mean, if you're running something on your own, you got to do it all, right? You can't like that's why I failed as a business owner, because I tried doing everything, and then you realize like you
aren't doing anything.
You aren't doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not moving. Like, just because you're moving, it doesn't mean you're going anywhere. Yeah. And then that's why working with you guys, I've seen the structure and the foundation, how well the business is. And I'm learning little by little. But
what are some of those things? Because you've mentioned the structure a few times now, where it's like, what were some of those like infrastructure things that you've noticed that we do that's unique, that's valuable to your business and the people that you're interacting with?
Let me tell you some of the clients I used to work with, okay? Some of the clients I used to work with didn't even have a CRM. So we're talking like, hey, I sent you a lead. All right, let's go back to the text thread. Okay. Right? Hey, I got a Google Sheet. All right, let's match it. Wait, Did you edit it? Right? Like we're talking like horrible, like terrible, like communication, right? Like, hey, I lost it in the email. Can you resend it? The platform shows everything.
Yeah.
It shows everything. Like, why would anyone, like, I mean, I'm not trying to discourage anyone. Why would anybody start a business when the business is already made? Right? All you got to do is just bring new business.
Yeah.
You know, why start from scratch when everything's already made? Right?
I agree. And now you've interacted with a lot of, you know, the new people that are interested in the business, learning about what it is that we do. And I know, like, you've noticed some different characteristics of those that do extremely well and those that don't.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of those things that you've noticed from your perspective of people that do extremely well and those that don't?
The ones who do extremely well are super proactive and usually are trying to communicate with you, and they're trying to learn as much as possible, and they're doing everything they can on their own free time to study all the verticals, all the lingo, study the competitors. You know, they're always on the go. They're trying to figure out the wants and needs of this industry, and the ones who are kind of struggling or slacking, they're not all the way in. They're like kind of half days in. Oh, I'll take care of it tomorrow. Like, you know, I'm not feeling like I should go digging, or I don't feel like working today, right? You got to be either 100 or 0. That's it. There's no like 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, you know, when I first started working with you guys, I was like half it, like kind of halfies, right? Like I'd just be like, you know, like.
I don't know where it's at.
I don't know where it's at. Yeah.
I don't know how to get in there.
You know, I don't want to. You know, I'll just pay somebody to teach me the platform. I don't want to take the course. Like it's free. I don't want to waste my time. You know, and I think I mean, it's like it's kind of weird, right? Because when you give everybody everything all at once, they take it for granted, right?
You've been saying that so much, and for me,
I think we should charge people for this video. Just say it's locked. You got to pay $5 to watch it.
But you know, this has been something that you talked a lot of shit about for me, because I do want to give everything away for free.
Yeah.
And from my perspective is like, anybody that's really making money at what they do will make money from what they do, not selling you how they do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when people pay, they pay attention. And I do think there's a lot of truth to that message, where if you pay, you pay attention. And, you know, I do want people that are coming into our ecosystem to have that commitment, because it's not a part-time thing. You're either all in or not. And if the team doesn't like want you into the ecosystem, there's not a fit, right? Because you got to be all in. And how quickly did you see that change from when you were dabbling to when you went all in?
It's like I said, it's just you get a shift in focus. When you're dialed in, things always pan out the right way. When you're not like kind of like you're not all the way in, like you just like nothing's going right. But when you like lock in and you just say, fuck it, I'm gonna make 500 dials today, you're gonna get some type of action. Like something's gonna come out of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. But if you're like, let me make a few dials, let me DM a few people, you're not gonna go anywhere, right? You have to. It's like sales, right? Like it's like the rule of 10, right? Like you got to make 10 calls to get one person on the phone. You got to make 100 calls to get, X amount of appointments. Of those appointments, you're going to get this how many shows and this how many sales. If the same thing goes for prospecting, not everyone's going to want to buy from you. It's just a reality. But you also don't want to give up on the first objection. Like that's one thing that I think a lot of people are scared of, is the fear of rejection, right? You should be happy they say no, because that means they got something already. You could be like, no, okay, well, how are you getting your traffic? Oh, well, we get it from this guy. Okay, are you happy with it? Do you feel like you can get more business? What business owner is going to say, no, I don't want any more business? Yeah. Everybody wants more business. This product sells itself. What company doesn't need more leads? What company doesn't need more calls coming in? They all need it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the national statistics, like, most businesses have new customer acquisition at least 30% of their P&L. And if we're averaging 30% of every business's P&L as far as what they actually are already spending, the question is whether or not they're spending it with you. And I think that's been the name of the game for us, is just making sure we can consolidate these budgets, kind of connect things. Now, within our ecosystem, you focus more so on the advertiser side than the publishing side. Like, was there a specific reason why you saw your focus more so on advertisers than publishers? Was there a logic to that?
Me personally, okay, I don't have the patience to monitor stuff 24/7, right? Like with the pubs, you got to be on top of them all the time, right?
Yeah.
Advertisers, I'm a little bit more, I'm a little bit more friendlier. I wine and dine them. Like, oh, let's go out here. Let's hang out. Because, there's like little things like that they'll remember, right? Like, I'll always check in on them, right? I want to make sure they're good. I'll talk about how's your family doing. Like, obviously, some advertise, like I said, sometimes it doesn't work. They'll be like, okay, just send me the invoice. I don't care. I'm like, all right, pay your bill. But I think you need that type of relationship. Like, I'll go in, hang out with my clients.
Do you feel like you have deeper relationships with advertisers versus publishers, or you feel like there's more work to be done on the publishing side?
There's definitely more work to be done on the publishing side, right? And the only reason why I say that is because I used to have my own call center, and I know what it took to make sure that compliancy and like, you got to, like I said, like I was running a floor, and it's not easy.
No.
Right? Especially because it's remote too. We have we don't got like there ain't no sales floor right here where we are right now.
Yeah.
Everything's done over the phone. And that takes a lot of trust from everybody to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's another thing. Everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to see the vision. Everybody has to be happy with the payouts, and everybody has to be happy with the end goal.
Now, how helpful has the morning calls been to make sure that you're on the same page with what's going on with everybody?
It's good. I mean, I get excited when I hear people are making money just off of EDM. You should be like pumped up, right? Even if you're a new broker and you're struggling, like there's some big numbers that some of these people throw out there.
Yeah.
It's like life-changing money.
Yeah.
Like, and I know for a fact, like once I went, when I dialed in with you guys, like my life changed, It's I'm super blessed to be here. You and Rita have changed my life, and I love you for that.
No, that's real, man. Yeah. And it's been a blessing to have you too. It's a big ball of energy having Oz around. Now, like, kind of walk me through like where you're at now, Oz. Like, how has your life changed? Like, what is Oz doing now? Are you running the streets?
Nah. I'm a goody two street. I stay home. I partied at the wrong time, right? I partied when I didn't have money. I should have waited. Now my liver's all screwed up. Like I should have waited. But honestly, like I like to go out like on nice dinners. I'm a big foodie guy. I love food. Just a heads up, whoever's watching this, if you want to go to dinner with this guy, be ready to leave in 20 minutes, okay? I'm just putting that out there. You go eat with this guy, I want to sit down, relax, like people watch. He's like, all right, let's go. Damn, man.
Eat then leave.
But
what are some of those things that you've noticed about me, Oz?
Yeah, you're always on the go. You're always on the go, And I think, but that's definitely been the biggest thing that has helped you out in this business is that they see that you're always on the go, and like you want to ride that train. Like you want to be with people like that because they only want what's best for you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think there's ever been a day where you're like, I want what's worse for you. I want you to make less calls. I want you to make less money. Like, no, like, you're like, dude, like, you should be doing this,
Yeah.
Dude, there's been times where I'm like, oh, Jamal, we had a great day. He's like, fuck you, let's get more business. And I'm like, okay. Like, it's just the reality. You have to be with people who they just want to keep growing, right? And I think there's a lot of people who they hang out with the wrong crowd because, yeah, like you're happy, but they don't want what's best for you, right? Like, you know, I want you to do good. I don't want you to do better than me, though.
How many
right?
tough love conversations have we had?
Oh, a lot, bro. I mean, I've teared up. You know, you see me tear up with you. You know, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, I've been burnt by so many people. I'm like, you know, I got to guard up, natural shell. And then when we had a talk, and, you know, I just felt like, damn, like, he does care about me. You know, you could feel that. And I think that was the spark that kind of had me like, all right, let's go. Like, there's no, you know, there's nobody is going to do it except me. Yeah. Right. But when multiple people are telling you, hey, you got the sauce. Hey, you got the sauce. You can't take that for granted. Like, you have to capitalize. And that was the big thing about us, is that, you know, you knew I was doing my own thing, but it was just super sloppy. And then I had a, you know, kind of like a wall where I'm like, oh, like, I'm good. Like, I'm doing good on my own. I took a dip, and then you still didn't care. You're like, bro, just do this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, here we are. You know, now I can get called 6 hours before, get the bat signal and fly in now. Yeah.
But, you know, it's just all good problems that's in the mutual benefit of everybody, you know. And, you know, I want another perspective, Oz, because a lot of people think things are always sunshine and rainbows, which is not. Nope. Like, would you say that the ratio between bad days and good days, what would you say that ratio is that you experience?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I would say it's like 40-60, like maybe 30-70, right? Let's just be in the middle, 35-65. Usually there's something going on, but the good exceeds the bad, right? Yeah. But when it's bad, you're gonna best believe, no, it's fucking bad, right? You can blur that out, whatever, right? There's so many good things that happen in this business, but because you're going good, when that one bad thing, oh, it's the end of the world, like, oh, like, we gotta shut it down, like, stop everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to set expectations very early on so they can be prepared for those bad days. Right? Because like you said, not everything's rainbow and sunshine. Yeah. You know, we've been putting out fires the last 2-3 weeks.
And how have you learned to set those expectations at the beginning? Like, what are those things that you set as expectations now that you weren't mindful of?
You got to ask what their concerns would be, right? Because a lot of these business owners, they're not going to tell you their problems. But if you don't ask, like, later down the road, they'll be like, oh, well, you never asked us this. Or like, oh, well, we didn't know this is how you do things differently. And that's why you got to just be straight up with them. Like, listen, there's going to be days where you get this amount of data and this amount of leads or whatever, and not everything's going to convert. Like, you have to be on top of them.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these business owners, they get data, they get leads, and they let it sit there. Yeah. Like, you got to be just as motivating them. Their business is your business, right? Their success is what's going to help make everybody win. You know, that's what people forget. Like, you can't treat them just like a client, right? Like, they're not just an invoice, you know? They're running an operation. They're running a big business, right? They got families to feed.
They're not just an invoice.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's a real testament because, you know, I do see, you know, Oz is the first person that went to go meet with an advertiser, right? First time, and he stayed with them that same night. I've never seen that shit before in my life. Where you make people so fucking comfortable, man. Yeah. Where they'll just invite you in and just, you're part of the family. Yeah, I'm in some
big ass house, you know, I'm shaking hands, you know, kissing babies, shaking hands, you know. They let me take their car for a spin. Like, I mean, it's just like I said, like, I just care about people, right? Like, because I've been fucked over so bad, right? I've been burnt so many times, you know, I don't wish that upon anybody, right? And I think I'm grateful for the position that I'm in right now, even though I'm not the star of the show. I think people, you know, one of the things I wanted to bring up was it's okay to be number two. Like, it's okay to not be the spearhead of the business, right? Some people do better behind the scenes. You know, I feel, you know, I would be honest, I didn't even want to be on this pod, but it's something that I got to break that uncomfortableness, right? Like, you know, I'm not used to being on camera. You know, I don't know how my voice is going to sound, right? I don't know how I'm going to look, right? Oh, like, how do I left this part right here. I forgot to get a haircut. And I mean, I think I'm happy that I have great partners, great business, right? Because we do good business.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do. We just want to see everybody win. You know, and I think I'm a student in the game. I'm always trying to learn. You know, I always ask you questions all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I ask everybody. I ask my clients questions. I learn from a guy on the sales floor more.
I looked at this and I noticed that everybody that's doing more than $50,000 a month, I get no less than a call a day from each of them.
Yeah.
I get no less than a call a day. And it's something. It may be 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, maybe an hour conversation. It's something. But it's just like they're extremely aware, tapped in, and they know their resources. Like, what was that process like when you were able to start saying, yeah, I have more resources around me to do more things now? Like, did you feel more confident in having conversations with different advertisers or re-engaging old business? Was that something that was helpful for you?
I mean, it's like I said, when you have that support, right? Knowing that you have that support, you feel unstoppable, right? Like you feel like I can pitch anybody. And that's what I was trying to explain, how, you know, you have to go out there, and confidence plays a big role in this, right? Like if you talk about EDM like it's just another ad agency, right? Or like, you know, the platform, like I've been pitched so many times, right? But if you tell them like straight up, listen, man, you're missing out on money. And they'll go, what are you talking about? Dude, you guys aren't using EDM. Like, what? Right? You know, it's like you break the pattern, right?
Yeah.
Oh, have you heard of EDM? No, I've never had. Okay, well, like, let me show you how much money you're missing out on, right? We've got full transparency on how to, you know, show you where all the ads are, how the ads look, everything, right? The placements. And it's, you have to, you don't want to sound like the same. Like, you don't want to be like everybody else,
yeah.
Right? There are so many agencies out there like that, but there's none like EDM, right? And the ones who make it are the brokers, right? The brokers are the ones who paint a picture. And I mean, like I said, I mean, it's amazing when you hear stories of all these other brokers that are killing it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think all it takes is one good account. And then once you see how much is coming in, you piggyback off that and you just keep rolling.
Compounds, yeah.
It just compounds, right? You got to make sure, you know, you take care of the golden goose, and then you got to wait for those other baby goose to hatch.
Yeah.
You know, it just.
Now, let's talk about that, right? So everybody wants to go whale hunting. Like, what were some of the things that you learned initially when you were going after your initial business?
Yeah.
Or even prior to working with us, like, what were some of those things that you either did or use as resources? Like, how did you find that business?
When I started, right, I did a lot of cold calling, cold emailing, right? And I had already built a few landing pages because the companies I was working for before, I owned the domain, so I could, you know, I basically said, listen, I got all this knowledge and experience, I might as well go do my own thing, right? So I did my own thing, and I was that guy where if you gave me an opportunity, I don't care how many leads it is. I'll be the, you give me, you want 2-3 leads for $200? I'm like, I'll take it. I need that money. You know, like you'll take the small deals, right? I call them guppies, right? So the guppies, right? Because everybody wants a whale, right? But not everybody knows how to hunt or handle one, right?
Yeah.
They think like, oh, like they make this amount of revenue and stuff. This is how much they're doing. And then you're like, yeah, but then you don't realize how much legal fees they're going involved in. You don't realize like how much are in the reserves. Like you don't realize how much the commissions are paying out. You don't know how their marketing spend. A guppy, he's gonna be like, yeah, I got like $1,000 to spend. Okay, how much of the 1,000 you want to give me, right? Like that's how you learn, right? And that's like those deals. You piggyback off of those baby deals because then eventually, let's just say a shark, right? A shark is going to respect that, hey, like you work with the little guys, I'll give you an opportunity or a chance, right? Because they see like, oh, like he's doing so well, handling so many small accounts, he might be able to handle our book of business.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, when you're working with the whale, those expectations are up here. Like you can't like miss a beat.
Yeah.
Right? You might be able to skip a beat, but if he notices like you skipping too many, now it's a problem. Yeah. Right? Now it's like, hey, let's hop on a call. Ah, shit. You know what's bad, bro? When they text you, we got to hop on a call.
We need to
and
talk.
it's at 8 in the morning. Damn. You know? That's when you know it's bad. Or you get the email, join this link. Damn. And you're hoping like, oh, maybe they had a good day at work or something. Maybe it's a coworker's birthday. Maybe it's a surprise. And then it's like, nope, it's a dispute. Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, like I think you got to start with the small guys. The little guys, they all, like, it's good business still, right?
Yeah.
Like, who cares if the margins are thinner? It's the fact that you're building a relationship because
Exactly.
you're making them happy.
Exactly. It's a book.
Yeah, who gets a book of business?
Yeah.
Like what? Like who cares? It's still, it's still on your badge.
Exactly.
You know,
You still
everybody wants that big WWE belt, right? They want to walk around with the like, oh, I got this, right? It's like I said, it's one of those things where you got to be happy with the little baby steps because eventually it'll, I have this saying like, I'm okay with the crumbs. Eventually I'll have my own crust. Eventually you'll get a slice. Just work with what you got though.
Yeah.
Right? You can only control what the controllables are, right? Too many people worry about what they can't control, right? You can control how many dials, you can control how many people you message, you can control your feelings, you can control your mindset, you can control your belief. What you can't control is what he's thinking about, his problems. Oh, like what if they can't pay me? Like, there's certain things like that's how anxiety is built, right?
Yeah.
Depression comes from thinking about the past. Anxiety is thinking about the future. You focus on the now, you're unstoppable.
Facts. I agree with that.
So, can I
Now-
drink your water?
Hold on, real quick. Last thing. If you had to start over, right? And let's just go back to. Let's assume you know what you know now.
Yeah.
What would be your 30-day roadmap if you had to start over to reestablish where you're at today? What would you do?
I would. You want to be honest?
Yeah.
You have to just be relentless on the phone. Like you have to. If I had all the tools that I had now, I would hit up everybody, everyone. Just don't stop until you get a book of business. Like don't stop. Right? The minute you put a little bit on the brake, then you start slowing down. Like you got to be full throttle. Like don't stop. Right? Like you should your goal as a broker, you should get at least one or two new book of business every week.
1 or 2 new advertisers
Every week.
sheet.
A day would be that you'd be crushing it. Dude, they should be interviewing that guy. But 1 or 2 a week is a good goal, right? Because what I've learned, they always come back.
Yeah, always.
I've had some advertisers, they cut me off. A couple months down the road, hey bro, you still doing what you're doing? Like, yeah, man, come on. Like I still have some clients that I'm good friends with. We don't do business anymore, but they always ask me like, oh, like, are you still doing that? I'm like, no, not really, So, and I'm not a big believer burning bridges, right? But there are some bridges that are kind of shaky. Like you don't want to walk those, right?
Yeah.
So, I usually try to end things on good terms. Usually, if it doesn't work out, like I said, you got to have those uncomfortable conversations. Like, hey, sorry it didn't work out. Maybe in the future, some things might change on our end or your end.
And I'll tell you, just from my experience in the business, more often than not, things always change either for the better or worse for that, whatever the situation is. And it's always in your benefit. Like some of the stuff that it could be either a short-term run or it could be a long-term run. But sometimes that break is the most helpful thing for both sides.
Yeah.
Especially when they can like see the market, know where things are at, and just see like, hey, the grass isn't always greener.
Yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah, because you're not watering yours.
Yeah.
When you start focusing on somebody else's vision, you realize yours is fading away. That's a big. That's why I stopped caring about like all these other guys and like when you focus on yours, like. Dude, if my, like, what's the saying, right? Like, as long as I cover my nut, I'm good, right? Like, if I pay, as long as my bills are paid, I got food in the fridge, like, I don't care how much the other guy's got.
Yeah.
That's how you got to see. You got to take care of your family, take care of your friends, take care of the right friends, because there are some bad friends that, they only want to be with you when you're doing good, not when you're bad.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to have people who have seen me at the bottom, and then they still ride with me.
Yeah.
And, same thing with business, right? There's some advertisers who they only stick with you when you're doing good, right? And then when it's bad, they're like, oh, well, we don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be bumps in the road for both parties.
Yeah.
And that's why communication is super important. Making sure that everybody's on board, everybody wants to win, right? No one feels like it's too one-sided. The minute it feels one-sided, that
It's
relationship
over.
is dead.
Yeah.
The minute they feel like, oh, well, in the beginning you told us this, and then you're like, okay, like this ain't gonna go anywhere, right?
Exactly.
Because then they're salty about it.
Exactly.
Both parties should be like, okay, like we're gonna both take it to the chin, right? That's how it should feel like. So.
No, that's great.
No.
You guys, you've heard it here first. We've been blessed and honored to be joined by Ozzy. Thank you, man. It
Jamal,
was a wonderful
thank you,
thing.
brother.
No, thanks, brother.